So we'll get started with a new Flutter tutorial, and in this tutorial we'll learn how to use Flutter local notifications with the theme mode. So we'll change the theme based on user click, as well as SQL CRUD. So we will use SQL creation, update and delete method, as well as we'll see how to use get storage package to save information on your phone, as well as we will use SQL to save information on the database in our phone locally. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so I'll create a new Flutter project over here, and I'll save it somewhere over here, and I'll call it Flutter to do app. Yeah, Flutter to do app. And it'll cover the features as I told you. Okay, now let's go ahead and create it, and it's creating, and we need to wait a bit. Okay, so I'll choose here open new window, so you can skip this one. This is my old project. Okay, now here we are with this new Flutter project, and the device has been selected. So what I'll do, I'll just go ahead and I guess I'll run it. Okay, and let's move it over here, and it will run very soon. Okay, and as it runs, we can do a bit of other things. So this is the main file over here. Okay, and in the lib folder. So over here, okay, well, let it run, and at the same time we'll create a folder over here, and we'll call it UI, because we'll have a lot of pages in this project, so we'll save them differently. Okay, and now within it we'll create another file, and we'll call it homepage.dart. Okay, all right, and over here we'll create a stateful widget, and we'll call it homepage. Okay, once you do that, you might need to import some of the libraries. Let's go ahead and do it. Okay, and over here let's come to our main file, and we want to delete last two sections. So now here we are with this, and over here we also want to delete this, because we'll use this file, the file we created in our UI folder. Okay, so we want to use this file, and this file's name is, as you can see from here, it's a homepage. So we'll do homepage. Okay, all right, and we need to import the library, and let's import it. Okay, now let's go ahead and run it. would be able to run. Now it's dark screen, black screen. Okay, and few of the things that we can delete from here now. Actually, what we'll do, we'll delete this section. We also don't need this one for now. Okay, let's save it. Hot reload, nothing changes. And well, it's black here because we have an empty container. We are returning a container, but we don't want to return a container. We want to return a scaffold widget. Okay, and within scaffold we will set up our app bar, and we do app bar, and app bar is not, empty for now, not much things there. We'll have body sections, and the body will have a column. Okay, for now, a lot of the things will change later. Column would take children. We know that column needs children. Okay, and now let's define some child. We'll do text here, and we'll write theme data. And for now, we just want to set up a simple style. So that what we do, we'll say font size. Okay, we'll do font size, say 30. Okay, now let's go ahead, save it and run it. Okay, here we are. And now back to our main file over here, and over here we want to close this debug thing. I don't like it, so debug this one, so do it false. Okay, now it's gone. All right, yeah. Now let's understand what is a theme data. Okay, now, well, theme data, well, as you can see from here, it is a long list, and it's a class, a theme data class, and it tells you that how your app should look like. Okay, so using theme data, this constructor, you can set it, you can do some settings, and you can also change the default setting. Okay, so theme data tells you what should be the color of your app, the background color, the app bar color, and text color. If you have button, those buttons color. Once again, using theme data, you can change how your app should look like. The app color, the app bar color, the text color, if we have button and things like that. Okay, different kind of bars, notification buttons, as well as toggle bars. So different buttons, we can change them. Okay, so now in Flutter we have in general two kind of themes. One is default theme, which is this one, and then there is a dark theme. Okay, so we have both. So let's go ahead and call dark theme, and we'll once again, call theme data. Okay, and for now it's also empty, but in general default it falls back to this one, not this one. Okay, now let's take a look at this default one. The default one has some property. So primary color, I think the primary color is colors.blue. Okay, so that's what they have. Okay, I'll explain what it does very soon. Now, the primary color in general is responsible for changing the color of your app bar and buttons, not the text. Okay, once again, primary color changes the color of your app bar and the button color, things like that. Okay, so just now as you saw, so this is the default settings. For example, if I comment it out, hold on, if I comment it out, the color didn't change. So this is the default color, okay, which color, which is blue. Now we can change the default color to say amber. Okay, now change it. As you see, it changes. So we are changing the default setting over here. All right, yeah. So with primary color, that's what you change. Now how to change this text color? Now in general, when you play with theme data, you don't want to change the text color directly over here, but you set up a parameter over here, a property, which is called brightness. Okay, so you can change the brightness. So we'll call brightness brightness dot light. Okay, now let me change it to blue, which is our default setup for now. And once again, so these are actually the default setup. Even if you don't write this thing, for example, you take it out, it is still like that. Okay, so either you write it, you don't write it, it's the same thing because it's the default. So now put it back. But once you write them, definitely you can change them from here. Okay, now what does this brightness do? Well, now the brightness compares the background color with your text color, but in general the background color is, say, well, white, which has to do with this light means bright, right? Okay, so if your background color is white, so in that case the text color should be black, otherwise you can't see that. But once, so this light, which means bright, so which has to do with the background color. In this case, the background color and light, they're the same thing, okay? But now let's change it to dark, okay? Now which tells it the background color should be dark, okay? So background color, not the app bar, remember, okay? So now as the background color became dark because of this, now of course you can't have a dark text, because if you have dark text you can't see that, right? So what Flutter does, it automatically change the text to white or related things, okay? It's not only just text, many other things, mostly the text change to white color. So in this case Flutter is very smart, so it detects for you what is the brightness of your background. In our case, the brightness of our background is black, so the text is white. Hopefully it makes sense. So these are the default we change the default settings. Of course you can also change it here. Now once again I said primary color is responsible for app bar, all right? So this one doesn't have to do with the app bar, this one has to do with the app bar, and this has to do with the text color. Hopefully it makes sense, text color and background, okay? But now as you see, we don't want this thing to be dark, so let's put it back to light. That's fine. Now once again we'll copy this thing and put it over here, okay? Now let's save it. Of course nothing will change. Of course this one changed because we set it to light, so background color is bright. Light means bright here, okay? Now in general this is the default setup, not the dark theme, okay? Dark theme, what is dark theme? Dark theme is like your main background color or main app color is dark, okay? That's what it means. And with the theme, your main app color is light, which is bright, okay? Now of course we can change the default settings, okay? So there is another property that's called theme mode, this one, okay? Theme mode, the default setup is theme mode dot light. Let's prove it, okay? So this is the default setup. You take it out, it's the same, all right? You put it back, it's the same. So even if you don't write it there, it's still this falls back to this one, falls back to this kind of settings, okay? All right, now of course you can change it, okay? So we'll change it to dark. So theme mode is dark, which means it'll call this property, okay? Of course now we can change over here to understand it better. Say for example yellow, all right? And over here say dark, okay? So now let's save it. Perfect. So you see, because primary color set to yellow, it became yellow, and now it became dark. So our default color is dark, and the background color became dark, and the text became white. But of course the amazing thing about Flutter is that you can put it light, no problem, okay? Even though we are in dark mode, but the brightness is light, in this case the text color would automatically go back to black color. So once you change the settings here, so it takes the related property, either this one or this one. So this is the main section, right? So if we can find a way to toggle this value through a Boolean variable, and then we'd be able to change the theme color dynamically, because right now we are changing manually over here, but that's what we don't want. We want our user to be able to click on a button, say over here, and based on that would be able to change the theme, okay, or the theme mode of our app, okay? So that's what we want to do. So well, now one thing we would do, we don't want to put this code and logic over here. We'll put it to a different file, okay? So that's why we'll declare another file within our UI directory, okay? And we'll call it theme.dart, okay, over here, all right? And we'll create a class over here and we'll call it themes, all right? Okay, now a lot of the work we already done. What we can do, we can just copy this one over here and put it there, and this one over here and put it there. Okay, but of course we need to organize, really not like that. Here we'll create a static variable, we'll call static final and light mode. Okay, so we'll save this constructor in a variable. Let's see, theme data, we're getting an error. Okay, I think over here we need to import libraries. Okay, so now we have these variables, but I didn't think we need this one and not this one, because underscore means this is a private variable, but this is not actually private variable because we want to access this variable from outside world, from this file. Okay, over here. Now remember, we had a property which is called a theme. Now over here we'll call themes dot let's say light, L-I-G-H-T, light, and I think we need to import it. Okay, so if you have a static variable, you want to access that variable from other file, what you need to do, just call the class name as well as the variable name with the dot parameter. So in our case, this is the static variable and the class name is the themes, so we are calling it. Okay, all right. And of course we don't want dark mode now, we want the light mode, theme.light. Theme mode has two values, one is theme mode.light and that is theme mode.dark. So you're using the light one. Let's go ahead and save it and see the result. Okay, so now we are falling back to this one, right? Of course we can change it to blue color. Okay, yeah, and let's run it. Yeah, so it's blue color. Okay, yeah, so well, that means it's working. And for how about this one? So this one over here, let's change it to dark mode. Okay, and but if you run it, it won't work, I guess, because you need to define your dark theme here. Okay, so now do it, themes.dark, which is coming from file over here. Okay, now you change it, it would work. Okay, do remember that our theme color was, the app color was yellow. Okay, but now it looks a bit ugly, so we don't want to use this color. So what we'll do, we'll first go ahead and define some colors. So I'll go ahead and define some colors over here. So I already defined this color, but looks like we have an error, so it doesn't want this color value over here. What it wants is this kind of value. Okay, so OXFF4242. So 800 is this one. What do we do? Just go ahead and change it. 424242. Okay, perfect. So now, because we already have defined the primary color, which is bluish color, so the primary color is more like the app bar color. Okay, so instead of calling this, we would call here primary color. Remember, this is the primary color and this is the variable that's taking the value, and the value is initially created over here. Okay, all right, and over here for primary color, let's see, we can define it to dark over here, like which we already have here. Okay, dark gray color, maybe this one. Okay, yeah, for now. Maybe in future if we need, we'll change that. And the mode is definitely dark mode. Okay, now let's come over here, make sure that everything is working. So we are in dark mode right now. Okay, perfect. So the primary color app bar is dark. Okay, and the background is dark, so the text should be white, so which is working. And over here now let's change the theme mode to light over here. So let's go ahead and check it. Okay, perfect, everything is working as we expected. Now this value, we want to toggle the theme mode. As I said earlier, we want to create a button over here and toggle it. Okay, Well, now to be able to create a button, we can change some of the things, our home file. Okay, so home page over here. Okay, so just now we had this app bar, but we want to create our default app bar. Okay, we want to create our default app bar, not the one, I mean customized app bar, I'm sorry, not the one is given from Flutter. Okay, so over here we'll create this method. We already called it over here, so let's go ahead and create this method over here, app bar. Okay, and here we'll return an app bar. Once again, why we are doing that? Because we want to create our customized app bar as well as the button over here. Okay, so that's what we want to do. Okay, now app bar takes few properties. So one of the properties it takes is called leading. Okay, so leading put things over here. Okay, not in the middle, not over here at the beginning of app bar. Okay, now within this we'll return a constructor which is called gesture detector, because we want to be able to click and change like that. Okay, yeah, so now it takes on tab property. Well, for now on tab is empty, and now over here what we could do, we could change icon. All right, we can set up an icon over here. It takes child, and within child we can set up icon. So do icons dot say night light, let's see, NIGHT night light, I guess this one, the moon. Okay, all right, the moon, and we'll use the size over here. We do size 20. Okay, all right, and let's go ahead and save it. Hopefully we'll see something over here, right? Okay, and let's see over here. So app bar, we have already the leading, and app bar has another property which is called actions. Okay, so we'll now use actions. So once you put something actions, it goes from this like left side. Okay, put things from the left side. As you can see, it takes a list, which means you can put a lot of them. Okay, now over here once again we'll put an icon. So we can just copy paste this section to save our time, and we don't want the same icon. We're good to go, and we don't need this child. All right, now let's save it. Perfect. But as you see, it's too much to the left. So over here we can, inside this we can create a sized box, and we can do width. So let's put it 20, so it will create 20 pixel distance from left. Okay, all right, so it makes sense. Okay, now come back to our home and change this to dark and see what happens. Yes, okay, so things are fine. Now change it back to light. Okay, perfect. Well, now so far with this, and what do we want to do over here? Because we have this on tap event. Well, there's nothing there. We can put a debug log here. It's a print tapped. Okay, so if you tap on it, you'd see over here tapped. Okay, so we want to click on this button. We want to be able to change. All right, well, now to do that we need to declare some logics. As I said earlier, we want to toggle this mode. Okay, toggle this one using a variable. Okay, and based on that variable status we'll change it to light or dark. Okay, well, to do that we want to move this logic to a different file using a boolean variable together. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll create a new folder over here, directory, and we'll call it services, and within services we'll call we'll create a new file and we'll call it theme services.dart. Okay, now over here we'll create a class. Once again we'll call it theme services. Okay, yeah, so that's what we want to do. And now here's the interesting part. So we need to create a boolean. Okay, and boolean will have either true or false, this two states. Okay, And these two states, we need to be able to keep track of them, okay? And based on that, we'll make changes over here, okay? Now we want to save them somewhere, okay? Because only if we save, then we'd be able to change them. Okay, to save them, we can save them locally to our phone. And to do that, we need to install a package. So we'll come over here to this file, and over here, say over here, we'll install packages over here. First one is get storage package, and second one is get package. We'll use getx for doing navigation, as well as taking care of our SQL CRUD and many other things. And get storage we'll use just for saving information locally in the phone. All right, okay. So now over here we need to initialize this one, final get storage, this thing, okay? Yeah, initialize and get a value from there and use that value later on. So we'll save it in a variable called box, and we'll call get storage, okay? Oh yeah, one more thing though, because we changed it, so we need to install it. Click over here and it will install the packages for you, and it's doing there. Okay, perfect. All right, it's done. And now over here, just import the file. Okay, well, now get storage saves information in a key and value pair in this manner. So there would be a key, and for that key there would be a value. So it's more like a JSON file. I mean, if you work with JSON file, you know that it's like this. Say ID is the key, and it will have a value. 1 is the value, things like that. So more like in JSON file format manner, okay, like that. Okay, so well, this is the variable where we want to save some of the information, our Boolean status we want to save here, okay? But first we need to create a key. So we'll create a key and we'll call it key, and the key could be any random string name. In our case, we'll call it is dark mode, okay? All right, remember all these things we are doing here because we want to change it dynamically, so we need to do some setup. All right, okay. Now over here, let's create another function, okay? So this function will return Boolean, okay? So we'll call it load theme from box, okay? And we'll use arrow function, which will return immediately in one line, okay? So this arrow function, you can save some coding time because you don't need to have this brackets, this and that, okay? So over here, we'll call box, and we'll try to read. So once you create a variable using get storage, that variable has a property or method, actually method called read, okay? Now box.read. Now over here we read what? Read the key, okay? So actually what we do here, over here, I think I'm missing this, yeah. So what it does, we are trying to read the value of the key, okay? Yeah, that's what we're trying to do over here. So you have a read method, and in the method you supply a argument, and this argument's name is key, and it'll check that for this key if there is a value or not. So that's what we are doing, okay? Yeah, so if there is a value, so with the first question mark we say if there is a value, and if there is a value with the second question, that means use that value, otherwise just return false. Sorry, if there is a value, and what it does is that this double question mark means that if there is a value, okay, return that value as a true. So it's pretty much like that, okay? Yeah, whatever the value is there, return that one. But if it's not minus, in our case, it will return actually true, okay? It will return true. So that's what it does. So if there is minus or negative value, it will return false, okay? So that's what it's doing here. All right, so now we need to find a way to call this thing from our file over here, okay? So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and create a method, another method, and we'll call it void, okay? And no, we don't want to call it void. Let's see, we'll return a theme mode over here, get and theme. Now over here we'll return, so let's see, I guess we need to import this package. Okay, now over here we'll call this function. So now we'll call this function. This function, we'll see what it returns. If it returns a true, then we'll fall back to dark mode dot dark. If it returns false, then we'll fall back to light mode. So let me explain what's happening here. I'll explain this section a little later. First, think about our app. In our app, initially, there is no value for this, right? Because we didn't set up any value. There's just key. So once you call this function, definitely this will return false, this function, right? Now we know that in Flutter, this ternary operator is a true or false thing, right? So, well, if it returns false, then fall back to this section, okay? If it returns true, then fall back to this section. Hopefully it makes sense, okay? Yeah. Now, because we are going to use getx over here, okay? In our package we will use getx, so that's why we did get. Okay, so if you have get, actually you can call that variable from somewhere without creating extra or without importing extra packages like this. Okay, now because we need to return a theme mode, okay, so that's why we are returning here theme mode. Okay, yeah, like that. So now all we need to do, we need to call this one from our main file. Okay, so where is our main file? This one. Now over here we'll call it. So how can we call it? We'll call it theme services. I think our file name is theme service. Okay, theme service dot theme. Okay, let's go ahead and check it. Well, it means it worked over here because there is no error, and that's what we wanted. So what's happening here? It's falling back to our light mode. It's falling back to our light mode over here, because remember, when you first call it, when you first call this value from here, this will return false because there is no value for it. As there is no value, okay, once again you call this function from here, it will return this one, this light boolean variable, and based on that, because it's false, okay, so it's setting the theme mode to light mode, okay, like that. So hopefully it makes sense. And what else? So now, of course, we can go ahead and click on this, and we'll see that nothing still changes. Okay, so we need to write another function to change it dynamically. Okay, right now using this, whatever the setup is there, we get it, but this is still static. Okay, so we don't want a static method. Okay, so we want a dynamic method. Okay, because that dynamic method we'll use over here. Okay, yeah, so now let's come over here. So here we'll call a function, create a new function. We'll call switch theme. Okay, and over here we'll say get dot change. Well, I think we need to import our get package. Package.dart. Now we would be able to access some other properties. Get from get package, get dot change theme mode. Okay. So we will change the theme mode because this is the function will help us to change the theme mode. Okay, now let's go ahead and call this function. So now what's happening here? You're calling it, okay? And we'll see. Once you call it, if the theme mode is true or false, that's what we want to check. Okay, if the theme mode is true, then we'll fall back to theme mode dot light, and If it is false, then we'll fall back to theme mode dot dark. Okay, what's happening here? Let me call you. We'll call this, let me tell you, we'll call this function from somewhere, and once we call that function, definitely at first it will return false. Okay, so that means it will fall back to this one. What does it mean? It means that we are toggling the value. So remember, we set it the default value to theme light. Okay, so that means over here this will once return false from here, this would be dark value from this function. Okay, all right, perfect, we are almost done. Now let's come over here. So what we'll do, we'll just call this function. Okay, so we'll do theme service dot let's see, switch theme, this one. Okay, yeah, let's see, and I guess we are good. Now let's go ahead and check it. Okay, and what we'll see, okay, another this error, that's because now we started to use this get storage, right? Now we created an instance over here locally. Okay, but now this get storage also has to be initialized from our entry point of our app. Okay, and entry point of our app is this one. So what it once from here, we'll initialize the whole get storage, but we'll not really create an instance. Over here we created an instance, but here we'll just do initialization. Okay, all right, so we'll do await, otherwise you will get this error. Okay, we'll do await, and we'll call get storage dot init. Get storage has a method which is init method. Okay, and it is asking us to import the library, and because we are using await, we need to use async, but this might also throw error. So until this is initialization, this initialization has been done, we want to wait. Okay, so there's another function that we can call. Okay, widgets flutter binding dot ensure initialized. So what will happen here, until this is initialized, this run app over here, it won't run. Okay, it will make sure get storage has initialized first. Okay, otherwise we'll get an error like this. So let's go ahead and rerun it, and let's see over here, use get material app. We still have the missing plugin. So if you get this kind of error, what we could do, maybe we can run Flutter clean. Let's see, and wait for it. Okay, and it will throw a lot of error now, and we need to install the dependencies once again. And over here, yes, okay, now let's go ahead and run it. Let's see if we have error or not. Well, so over here, actually what I did, I uninstalled my app and reinstalled from here, and looks like the problem has gone. Okay, so now let's go ahead and click it. But one more thing that we already did here, know that we are using get material. Once again, we already installed the package over here, as you see. All right, okay, now let's go back to the most exciting part over here. Now as you see, the theme changed automatically once we click. Okay, but now if you click it, it doesn't get back. Okay, because we need to really save it. We are not saving this somewhere. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll just go ahead and save it over here. Okay, and how to save this thing, and let's see. So we'll create a new function over here. Let's call it save theme to box. Okay, and it will take a boolean variable, local variable, we'll call it dark mode. Okay, and over here we'll write it. Okay, whatever value is passed to it, we'll write and save it to the box. This is the box we created. Okay, and we do write method. And what is the key? When you write, you need to mention the key. So this is our key, so that's what we do. And over here we'll mention the variable that has been passed, dark mode. Okay, that's it does. All right, so over here we'll call it, once we switch it, we'll call it. Okay, switch this one. All right, now we need to pass a boolean variable. As you can see, it takes a boolean, so it saves the value of key. Okay, as I said earlier, the value is either true or false, right? So now here we need to change the value, but we can't really do true or false like this. We need to change this dynamically. So do remember, first time when we have this app, okay, definitely this returns false. Okay, right, as we said earlier. So now as it returns false, we fall back, once we click on the button, we fall back to theme mode. Okay, right? So over here we need to change save the value, and we need to do the opposite. We do this one. Okay, so we are saving, so we are passing here true, so we'll send it to true. Okay, save it over here as a true. So next time when you click on the button, so this will return false. If it returns false, this will return, let's see, yeah, this will return true. So if it returns true, we'll fall back immediately to light method or light mode. Okay, so whatever the status right now, here you pass the opposite one for future. Okay, because the future you want to return, you want to change based on the value that was created early. So hopefully it makes sense. Okay, now let's go ahead and return. Okay, now do it, change it, change back, change to dark mode, change to light mode. Perfect. So now we are successfully able to change the theme mode. Okay, so next we'll see how to create a notification once user click on this button. Okay, that's what we want to see. Work with notification. First we'll create a file over here. Okay, and let's call it notification services.dart, and here we'll create a class. We'll class it notify helper. Okay, yes, now we did the class, and well, for Android and iOS we need some special settings. Okay, now let's go ahead and see the iOS settings first. You have to come to this folder, and then runner folder, then this file. Okay, so well, if you open it, in your case, if you're on iOS, you'll not have this one, so you need to copy paste this line and put it right here. So there is a link for this, there is the link below in the video description, so you can go ahead and copy it. So I also mentioned over here, so as you can see that so this is the link and the copy. So this is the code that you need to copy, so you can just copy from here directly and put over there, which I already did that. Okay, so that's for iOS. And for Android, we also have Android settings. So let's come to the end. So if you are in Android folder or in Android device, you want to run it, so you need to come to this Drawable folder from app, source, main, res, and Drawable, and put an icon over here. Okay, icon image. So that's the app icon image. Without this, we will have a crash in our app, and which I already done it. So it's over here. Let's take a look. So this one. Okay, so you can put your app icon over here. Without it, we'll get error. All right, so that's the first thing that we need to do for notification. Now there are a few other things, of course, we need to do. Now come to this class. So over here we will use notification and create initialization of notification services, but to do that we need to use some plugins. So here we are, come to this pub spec. So go ahead and install this two plugins. One is for notifications and there is for time zone, because we'll also send notification based on time or time schedule. So you try to use the latest version. That's what I'm doing over here. Okay, yes. And now over here there are things that we need to do, but this is a lot of code and long names that I don't want to do it like this. So what I'll do, I'll go ahead and directly copy some of the code, let's see, from here, and I'll explain what is happening. So come over here and copy it and put it over here. Of course it'll throw errors, so what you need to do, you need to go ahead and import the library. For now we don't need this thing. We'll deal with this two arrows a little later. Let me tell you what's happening here. So first we initialized an instance from Flutter local notification plugin. Okay, the plugin you install. So this is the instance. So this is the one that we'll be using soon. Okay, so we declared a function which is called let's see, which is called initialize notification. This is a function that we declared, and later on we'll call this function from our home page somewhere over here. Okay, we'll create init state method. Anyway, so this is the function that will get called first. Now it takes another function, and that function is a function of this instance. It's a Flutter local notification plugin. So this function name is initialization. It takes at least two parameters. I think it does more than that, but two parameters are enough. So first parameter is for initialization, and second parameter is for showing the content once someone click on notification, you know, that bar. So there's two parameters it takes. Well, now the first one, initialization settings. This initialization settings is the settings for both iOS and Android. Okay, yeah, so this is over here. We have this iOS settings. So in general, at the beginning when the app gets initialized, we set everything to false, like sound, badge, and alert. Okay, and this is a fallback function for iOS older version. Okay, and we need to implement them as well as this one, otherwise we'd be getting an error. Okay, all right. Okay, so now of course this initialization, this variable is this one, and this one takes the initialization variable for iOS. But of course we also need to define for Android. So let's go ahead and define for Android. I'll just copy paste and write here Android and Android. This will save us time. Android, and of course we don't need this thing. For Android, the minimum setting that we need, that's the icon. Just now I showed you the app icon. So that's what you want to pass, the icon name, the image name. Okay, all right, now we need to pass it over here. This is the initialization function that sits within this initialize function. Okay, all right, so we'll call here Android, and over here we'll just copy paste and put it here. It will save our time. Okay, all right, so once again, this is the main entry function for plugin setup, and it takes initialization first parameter, and this parameter consists of two parameters in our case, iOS and Android, but there is another one that's called Mac for the desktop version, but we don't need that one. So with this one, these two devices get initialized. Okay, and those two devices are being initialized over here, this and this one. All right, hopefully it makes sense. And these are all wrapped in a function called initialize notification. This one, of course we still have these two errors. Now this one, Okay, now we need to create this function. So what I will do, I will just copy from the website. Check out the link once again. There's a link in the video description. So this is the link. Sorry, this is the code. So I'll copy it and I'll put it here as a new function. And here I'll be using getx as I told you. So I don't need the show dialog over here. So first go ahead and let me import getx package. Let's see, package get this one. All right, okay. Now over here we can call get.show or dialog, this one. As you say, it takes a widget, so I'll pass a text widget. Welcome to Flutter. That's it. Okay, now error is gone. Okay, so because with Flutter getx package, showing dialog becomes much easy. If you don't want to use getx, go ahead with this section, which I already commented out, but I'll use getx. Okay, so this error is gone. Oh no, we still have error here. Now this error because of this null safety thing. Now it depends on version. In some version it might work just like this, the error should be gone, and if it's not gone, all you need to do, make sure, tell the compiler that this could be null in future. Okay, so now compiler will have better idea what's going on. So now the error is gone. Once again, this is for iOS older version. Newer version like above 10, iOS 10, we don't need this one, but if someone is on very old phone, you need this one. Okay, I think it shows the message once someone taps on the notification. Okay, taps on notification, it shows the message, as you can see from here. All right, okay. Anyway, so now we have this another select notification. This is also the same. So this is also for showing notification once someone clicks on the notification. So we need to create this function. Once again, the function is already defined. Let's see, somewhere over here. So just let's go ahead and copy paste. So I'll put it as a new function over here. All right, and once again, this is the error because of this null safety thing. Okay, so over here, now error over here is gone, and now this is, for now we'll just pass empty container. Okay, and maybe we'll say colors.white. For now we are happy. So once someone click on this notification, it will take us to a new page. Okay, yes, like that. Of course, we can also, I think, do the same here. Instead of showing a message, we can go to a new page. All right, like that. Anyway, so that's it. Now the error is gone. Okay, and let's see what else we need to do. Now we can come to our file over here and create the init method. So let's override the init state method and we'll call init state. Okay, now over here we'll create a variable first. We'll call it var notify helper. Okay, now here notify helper will create an instance from notification service. Okay, and the class name is notify helper. This is the class name. If you want to make sure, this is the class name. All right, okay. Now over here, well, we are ready with this one. Okay, so once this home page gets called, this one, our plugin will initialize. So let's go ahead and check it. Okay, well, but of course nothing is happening. Okay, now do remember that at the beginning everything is false. It's not even asking you for permission. Okay, during initialization, but after the initialization has been done, we want to ask for a permission, so we need to use a new function. So this function is I guess permission functions. Let's see, this one. Okay, just go ahead and copy paste. This is for iOS. Okay, and over here I'll keep it once again a separate function. So this is the function, and once again we are calling different things like whether this things has been initialized or not. Okay, so that's what it does. So what we'll do, we'll just go ahead and call it. So notify dot so what's the function name? Let's see our function name. This is the function name. Okay. Now I went ahead and uninstalled the app. Let's see. Uninstall the app and reinstall it, and then I got this notification, the one you saw early. Let's see if we see it or not this time. No, we are not seeing it, right? So if it doesn't work, what you could do, you can just go ahead and uninstall it. Okay, and let's install it again. And once you do that, hopefully you will see that it's working. So we need to wait a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds. As things are getting initialized. Yes, so it means our notification has started to work. Now we'll say allow. All right, okay. So if you don't have this one, it won't work, especially with the new iOS version. So you'll have to have this one. Okay, all right. So now next, once we click on this, we want to get a notification immediately. And where is this happening? This is happening over here, right? So over here we'll call a function. Okay, we'll call a function, would say display notification. Okay, now once again I already have this one over here, the function. So we'll just directly copy paste it. Let's see, so display notification, this one. Okay, and we'll come back to this file and over here. Okay, so now we need to call this display notification function. Well, what's happening here? First tell you. So this is the core part of this thing. Okay, and it takes once again, this show function is coming from our plugin, and it takes parameters, a few parameters like what you want to show, like title and body of the notification, and this is the sound. Okay, what kind of sound you want to show when someone clicks on here. So this is the default sound we'll use. And what is this? So this is some platform channel specification, like for iOS and Android. Okay, so with Android, like there is a priority of every notification. It depends on the battery. So battery decides that the notification should be displayed immediately or not. And for iOS, we're just using default one, so we're passing nothing there. And using this too, we create a new variable. Okay, so we are passing, you see, Android and iOS over here, and that variable we are passing over here. So the actual function is .show, this function. Anyway, so we need to call this function and pass this parameter to it, right? So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and come here. So we'll call notify helper dot display. Well, looks like it doesn't recognize immediately, so what I'll do, I'll copy paste this one and put it over here. All right, yeah. Now of course it takes parameters, two parameters as you saw earlier, title and body, right? So title, will say, we'll write here notification theme changed. Okay, and now body, we'll do body. All right, now body would tell either it's a dark theme or light theme. Okay, now here's interesting thing, because we are using getx package. Getx keeps the track of the theme that is being used right now at that moment. Okay, so there is a variable called is dark mode. Okay, as you can see, if you hover over on it, you'll see
it's coming from getx. Okay, so we are using that one. And now this is a Boolean variable that's we are going to check. Okay, so we'll see. So we'll check with this one. If it returns a true, so it means that it is using dark mode. Otherwise, it's using light mode. Okay, now activated, say, dark theme. Okay, activated light theme. That's it. So we are passing this and this over here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and run it once again. Okay, now what do we want this time? Once we switch the theme, hopefully we'll be able to see a notification. Okay, well, you click on this and it still doesn't work because actually I made a stupid mistake. We supposed to initialize it. We are supposed to call this one, right? We are still not calling this, so that's why it's not working. So we'll call notify helper dot. Okay, now let's go ahead and run it. And click on this, as you see. So now it changes immediately, right? You click on it once again, it changes again. All right, but what about the messages that we set over here? This one. So we are already passing it, but we are not using it. So like over here, they are already in, let's see, title and body, right? So these two parameters. So we can just change over here to title, and here body. Okay, now let's go ahead and change it and run it. Hopefully we'll see it. Yes, so now here's the message has some problem, we need to fix it. Okay, now dark theme activated, so we see the opposite. So from my understanding, what happens here, so because this is, even though now I'll activate dark mode, but I see the opposite message. That's because this dark mode is coming from our getx package, not really get storage. Okay, like we said earlier, so get storage and getx, they're different. So getx doesn't save what this one saves. Okay, so they work differently. So all we need to do, we need to change the messages. Okay, so because getx package just tells you the current package. So current, it's black, right, or dark, so it checks that one. So if it's dark, now we are activating. If I click on it, it will activate it to light. So that's the message we want to see, right? So getx just see whatever is there. It doesn't take care what's stored over here. Okay, so they work differently. So it just takes the current thing. What is the current theme? Is dark, so you're going to activate the light thing, so it would return false. So if it return false, then we'll show this. I mean, if right now it's dark mode, right? So is dark mode would return true. Okay, if it returns true, then we'll go back to this one. If it returns false, then we'll go back to this one. Okay, okay, activated light theme, activated dark theme. Okay, so our messages are also working. Once again, this just depends on the current theme it has right now before you click. Okay, hopefully it makes sense. All right, so the next thing we want to do, we want to create a scheduled notification right here. So once user click on something, click on this button, we want to see a notification 5 seconds or 10 seconds later, or any amount of time later. Okay, well, for this one we already have a function, schedule notification. So what we'll do, we'll just copy paste this one, and we'll come over here and put it once again as an independent function. All right, but now it has some dependencies. Okay, so we need to import some libraries, but those libraries would be coming from here. We already installed this one. Okay, so we need to go ahead and import some libraries. Let's see if we can import manually. No, it looks like not. Okay, yeah, so let me import them manually over here. Okay, and now scheduled notification, it takes a function, so that's within the plugin itself, so zone schedule. So it takes other information which we saw early, like that. And but this is the most important one. This is where you set up your time. Okay, like how many seconds later you want to call it. And these are the information, dynamic information. You can pass down to them and change them later. Okay, you can pass down here and change them, it doesn't matter. So here, this is the time is the most important thing. So now if we go ahead and call this function, it won't work because we need to initialize the time zone. So remember earlier this time zone initialization, so we can activate it over here right now. And now let's go ahead and run it. Of course nothing will happen because we'll see nothing after 5 seconds later because we are not calling this. Okay, so we need to call it. So what you could do, we can come here and call it over here. Okay, we'd call it notify. Once again, it doesn't recognize, so what I'll do, I'll just copy paste directly from here. Okay, and hopefully it should work. Okay, so now let's run it. Okay, looks everything is okay. Click on it. This is the immediate notification. Let's see if we see another notification. Yes, that's the notification 5 seconds later. It's working, right? Yes, perfect. Now we'll see another one soon. Perfect. So our notification is working perfectly. And well, if you have problem with Android, you can contact me on Facebook or on YouTube or on my Twitter, so I'll try to help you. But the way we did so far, it should work both on Android and iOS. Okay, and if your Android doesn't work, you can always come and check solution over here because I'm updating this page all the time. Okay, anyway, so next we'll create we'll create UI like this, and we'll create task, and task will have timer. So certain timer happens or that certain time appears. Based on that, we'll send notification to our user. Okay.